you guys for having me here today. It is also an honor and a privilege, of course, to be here, and I thank God that you allowed me to be here, and I thank you all for the traveling grace to be here, of course. When Renee asked me to come, of course, first of all, I was like, okay, no problem. I wanted the rest of the guys to come too, but they just got home a couple days ago from being in Europe for 2 months. I was only gone for a month, so I had a couple weeks to rest, and they just have been traveling all summer, and we had great success after the Olympics because our season goes from January all the way to the end until September. So it's a pretty long season, and it's pretty tiring. So they weren't able to make it, but we're praying and hoping that they will be able to come, and you'll be able to meet Justin and Kelly and Dennis and maybe a couple of our other star athletes in Vegas. That's the plan. We're praying that that can work out with their schedules. But I got introduced to Pro Performance from Colleen. She's a lady that works at the Health Hut, where she used to work there. She used to work at Health Hut, a health store where the chiropractor we used to see, where we used to go, and I get massages. And I went through there, she told me about it, and this was kind of right before, because I was telling her about my Achilles were bothering me. I ran with Achilles pain from, I actually had a partial tear in my left Achilles in 06. That healed up, and then 07, 08, I was fine. 08, I was okay. Then 09, 10, and 11, I ran with Achilles tendonitis pretty much most of my career. At the time, I didn't know about all these wonderful products. They didn't exist, or I didn't hear about them. So she told me about them, and I was like, okay, I'll try them. But that next day, 2 days later, I'm at practice, and I ruptured my Achilles tendon. So I obviously didn't make it back because I had to get surgery 2 days later. So I never made it back. Well, this is why I say, look how God works, because Kelly goes into the store and she talks to Colleen, and and Colleen starts telling her how amazing these products are and what they can do for you. They're great for healing. She goes, oh, well, that can help my friend. So Kelly buys me a bottle, and then she buys 2 bottles, one for herself and one for me. And then I didn't get the bottle until 3 weeks later because I love my husband, I really do, but he's the worst at delivering products. So it took a long time, but I finally got it. He goes, yeah, Kelly gave me this wine bottle or something to start for you. I said, a wine bottle? So I was like, well, that was nice of her. And then I started reading. They gave me the literature. I started reading about it. And so I said, oh, this is pretty good. And as athletes, we're healthy. And the first question we all ask, is it legal? And we have to ask that because we are drug tested quite frequently. Just even though I did retire, I haven't stopped getting drug tested because I haven't sent in my formal letter of retirement yet. So we have to do our whereabouts form. I have to let them know when I'm getting on the plane. They know I'm here in this hotel. They have to know everything I'm doing. So we could be tested at any minute. They could show up right now and be like, okay, we need to be tested, blood tested here and whatever. So it's very important for us as athletes to know that the product is safe. We can't have someone say, oh yeah, it's fine, you can take it, no problem. No, we need to know. So first thing she says, oh no, it's BCG. I was like, what's BCG? What is that? And so once we went online, started reading, I didn't even know I didn't know companies do that and existed. So that right there is just something that made us all very comfortable, and we started using it. Everybody started using it. We really started using it because it tasted good. So we didn't really understand what it was doing. I didn't understand what it was doing. I just know it tasted good. I was like, this is great. So as months went by, I got better, of course. I mean, I healed fine, everything's fine, I'm running fine. Within 8 months after surgery, it usually takes about 6 months. It takes a long time to heal from Achilles tendon rupture. It's not a good injury. And I run hurdles, which, as you see, it's a lot of pounding, a lot of jumping, and it's also my takeoff leg. So that's the leg that gives me the power to go over the hurdle. So it was all the worst things that could happen. So it took me a few months to get back, but by the 8th month, I was jogging. I was jogging with the limp because I'm hard-headed. But I jogged. I was able to get out of my boot sooner than most people. I was in the weight room, back doing everything I've been doing. The only difference was I wasn't able to perform at the level that I wanted to perform at because of other parts of my body kind of started to give me problems. The Achilles was healed, no problems. Then my hip starts hurting. And then I was like, well, what's wrong with my hip now? And then from there, lower back pain, just all these other things started to happen. And I was like, well, why is everything falling apart? What's going on? I wake up next morning, I can't walk because my hip is hurting so bad. I can't sit in a chair. So I get on the phone with Miriam, Miriam, we started talking, and she goes, well, just up your pro. I go, so you can't take too much of it? She said, no. So I was like, oh, really? So I really went crazy. I was basically just drinking it. Like, I was like, I gotta get healed, we got Olympic trials coming up, and I really wanna go, and I gotta get my time down. And then I shared it with everybody else, with Justin and Kelly. I was like, you guys, just drink this stuff, just drink it, you know? And we really didn't know what we were doing. But it worked out, because I found that you can't take too much. Your body's, it's working with your body, it's helping you, it's okay. So from there, I got better, my hip got better. But then there was one day at practice, I did go to practice, and I went to just do things that I normally do, just going over the hurdles, just doing normal drills and stuff I kind of took for granted in the past. I went to go the hurdle, and I barely cleared the hurdle. I was like, ooh, that was scary. And I've never been scared before. So I was like, Dennis, it's time. And he goes, and I go, I'm done. He goes, really? He goes, I'm done. He goes, I've been waiting for you to say that. And I was like, wow, really? He says, tell me, I don't understand why you're out here. And he goes, you've done so much in the sport. You've done so many things that people wouldn't even have picked you to even be an Olympian, a world champion, anything. Or even be on the world, just even be at US championships, or even be a contender, or be tops in the world. He says, so you've already gone leaps and bounds ahead of what you ever thought you could do. And he says, I know you want that medal. I know you want the medal really bad. I said, that's the only reason why I want to come back, because I didn't get the medal, Dennis. I was so close. And he goes, you know what? Remember when you didn't win the medal and you came back home and all the warmth you got and all the love you got? He goes, people don't care if you win the medal. And I was like, yeah, they do. I care. He goes, no, you care. And I said, yeah. And he goes, but think about how everybody was still happy that you were even there. They were happy that you represented Tampa, Florida. They were happy that, oh, I know her. When they were happy that you came to speak to them at school, they were happy you shook their hand. And he goes, you don't understand what that does. And I said, no, because I really thought I let everybody down. He goes, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And so it's kind of like, I was talking to him about it, and I really started to realize, I was like, you're right. It's not about the medal. And maybe I wasn't supposed to get the medal. And that was hard to deal with at first, because you're like, I want that medal. That's just what I trained for. I just want it, and I was like, I have no hardware. And like, I look at his medals and all his accomplishments and world records and all that stuff, and I'm like, but why do I always almost get there? And then when I was talking to my pastor, and he goes, Damu, you're going through a transition. I was like, okay, he says, you just need to trust. And so he goes, and I go, well, does that mean I'm done running, or what is it? He says, just trust. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna trust. I was like, nothing happened. so I was like, I'm actually getting worse. I keep barely getting over the hurdles. Everything that could go wrong is going wrong. But what I didn't see was Exfuze is right there saying, hello, this is what we need you to do. Hello, and that was it. And it's like, I realized that, and I said, I need to share it with all the guys. Next thing you know, I'm talking to Miriam, I'm talking to Colleen, next thing I'm talking to Renee, and we're like, we gotta get all the athletes on it, and we gotta help all these athletes get as much product as they can, and let's get them to London. That's what you're supposed to do, Damu. You're supposed to help people. That's where your transition is. You have to move on to doing other things, helping others. So I was like, all right, fine. So I start coaching, and Dennis had to go out of the country, so I was like, he's like, give Kelly her workouts, help Kelly. Me and Kelly got in a couple fights, because I was like, Kelly, you're getting on my nerves. And she's like, you're getting on my nerves. So we actually got a little conflict at times, and then I called Dennis, I was like, I'm done with her, I don't want to work with her anymore. And he goes, Damu, you're already ready to throw in the towel. I was like, yeah, me and Kelly are not hitting this off. She looks at me as her competitor, not her coach, and it's just not working. So we got in a little fight, we were mad at each other for about maybe an hour, and then I went back. I was like, Kelly, I'm sorry. But it was because it was hard for me to accept that I couldn't do that anymore. It's hard for her to accept that she wanted me to run with her, and we just were battling this whole thing. And I was like, Kelly, look, I'm not running anymore. Get used to it. It's your time. Let's do it. I'm going to tell you some things that I would never tell you if I was competing against you. I'm letting you know that right now. But let's do this. And the craziest thing happened is at Olympic trials, in 2008, it was Lolo Jones won, I was second, and Don Harper was third. And I was coached by Dennis, my husband. I was second. And the crazy part about it, when the trials was over this year, guess who was second place? Kelly Wells, coached by Dennis Mitchell. And those Lolo Jones and Don were on the team, but it was just flipped. I was like, Kelly took my spot. I was like, and then so he was, and I said, Dennis, what were the odds of that? It being the same team? It's pretty much the same team. we just shifted it. It just shifted it. We passed it down. So our goal is to get somebody else in there, get Kelly back next year. So we just got to keep our group in there. And I said, it's okay, and I feel great about it. And I'm out here, and I feel great, and I know that I'm done. It's like, it's time for somebody else to have it. It's time for me to help others get those medals. It's time for me to give back. It's time for me to share Exfuze. It's time for me to know what I'm transitioning into. I finally get it. So it's just an honor to be here, and I just really am excited about where we're going to go with this. I have a couple funny stories for you, and then I'm going to kind of let you go. But when we were in London, you know, everybody, of course, when you're in the Warren area, they're all staring and they're trying to figure out, what are they doing? They got these little bottles, and they're all drinking this stuff, and it's funny because you see people staring. It's really funny, and Dennis goes, yeah. And one thing about going through the airport, we all kind of learned, we got a couple of bottles taken from us because you can't go through the airport with too much. We put the box in the carry-on. We can't do that because they took it from us. So we're like, okay, that's not working. So we found that we only can put a couple bottles. We learned that the hard way in our carry-on, and the rest has to go in the suitcase. So being so generous, Renee, and you guys, and Rick have been so generous, went ahead and they helped us. They shipped us products to London, which was so helpful. But the funny part about that, I didn't tell you this, but when we started going through the village, it's very high security. So when you're going through the village or you're going through the area, I had to deliver it to Dennis. I had to get on the train. I had to go from my hotel carrying this big old suitcase full of stuff. And people are standing, I'm sweating. I have attitude because I'm like, Dennis, I wish I had a car. This is just not, I was like, these guys better win a medal because I'm exhausted. And so I finally get it all to them, this big suitcase, and people, I just feel like everybody was staring at me like, why is this girl walking around with this big old suitcase going her way to the track? And it looks kind of weird. People are staring. So I give it to him, like, here, give him the goods, basically. So he goes and he starts walking through, then the security stops him. And they're like, sir, what is all this liquid? So he's like, so he opens the bag and they're like, wow, what is it? So the guys were like, okay, well you can go ahead and go through, no problem. But he had to share it. So we helped we helped the volunteers at the Olympics. They were on the product too. Because we had to share with them because they were kind of questioning, what is this stuff? What does it do? And so Dennis explained it to him, but he's like, I needed to get through because I had to get in to coach the guys. So I just gave him a couple things like, here, let me go. So we shared it, and that was a great honor. I don't know, we didn't get any feedback because we never really saw him again, but it was cool just to pass it out there. But then we have this other athlete, his name is Ryan Braithwaite. He runs for Barbados. Ryan was world champion in 2009. He won, but he really kind of had no idea how he did it. I was like, wow, I wish that could happen to me. But he had a couple years where things were just going real bad for him, so his agent sent him to Dennis to be coach. And one of Ryan's problems was he couldn't stay focused. He's so young. He's a really talented athlete, but he's 25 and he likes girls. He's like, girl wants fly. He's like, whoa, hey. So we're like, Ryan, focus. So he never can focus on anything. So I was like, Ryan, I have some focus for you here. Just take some of this focus. And so he drinks it. He's like, this is good. He has an accent, so he's like, this is good. He's like, can I get some more? I was like, yeah. So then he goes and he runs really well. And I was like, Ryan, that's the best I've seen you run. He goes, I can focus. So then we go to his room, and we went to his room for we had set up an ice bath, because one of the things athletes have to do, we have to take these ice baths. So we go in his room, he has all these empty bottles of Focus all over the room. They're just everywhere. And I was like, Ryan, how much Focus are you drinking? And so he's like, I like it. And he's like, whatever you gotta do, man, just be ready for practice tomorrow. I hope you're not up all night. But the crazy part about it is he ran a season best at the Olympic Games. He got 5th at the Olympic Games, and his whole country back in Barbados gave him this huge party just because he had one of the best finishes ever for his country. So they were just really excited. He goes, it's the Focus. I need more Focus for training next year down there. So he's just really pounding on me. He's like, don't forget my Focus. I was like, all right. But so we've had some fun times with it, and we just really appreciate just all of your support, your prayers, because we had a great Olympic Games. And we're going to continue to use it, we're going to promote it, we're going to pass it on to other athletes, and we're just going to really see where this takes us. And once again, just thank you so much. It's an honor and privilege to be here. Thank you.
Is she great or what?